This is Super Mike. I just wanted to make this a quick one because there's a lot of people out here trying to defend, especially black people, mostly people that's loyal to like Democrat type people. They're defending folks who immigrated to the United States illegally and people who want to disrespect the flag of a sovereign nation. Now, even under the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and all of the problems that black people have had with the United States, we are taught that we don't burn the United States flag. We don't disrespect the flag of a sovereign nation because we one day hope to be a sovereign nation. And we will make laws to punish those who disrespect our flag. So, because that's disrespecting the symbol of the struggle of the entire nation, the entire people. So, that should offend everybody. So, there's a lot of people making the argument that the United States stole California and Texas. So I do want to touch base with this. This is called the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. See, there was a Mexican-American War, and America had taken over Mexico City. They could have taken the whole damn place. So, Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, a turning point in U.S.-Mexican relations. Now, this is from the U.S. stand. They literally have the document, which we don't need to look at real quick, but so is this talking about the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo? The Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo signed on February 2nd, 1848. So this is before the end of chattel slavery. So, think about that. They were getting, the United States had our enslaved ancestors fueling their war machine. The Mexican government did not have the manpower or the resources to maintain a war with the United States, especially even at that time. So this treaty, Mexican officials agreed to give up 55% of their territory, basically. They offered the United States $30 million for those territories. The United States ended up paying $15 million for those territories. Because they still were engaging in a war while these negotiations were going on. But you got to think about it. The Mexican officials were engaged in these negotiations. This land was not stolen. So they annexed Texas, they annexed what they call Upper California, which is California to us. The treaty, it traced the boundary between the United States and Mexico. Ran the boundary along the old Spanish-Mexican division line, Upper and Lower California. The exact boundary was to be surveyed and marked by a joint commission. So they both did supposedly do this together, to be appointed by the two governments within a year. So, after General Winfield Scott had captured Veracruz and pushed into the interior of Mexico, President James Polk and the Secretary of State, James Buchanan, sent Nicholas Trist from the Department of State to join him in the hope that within plenipotentiary powers and full instructions, the two could take advantage of any crack in Mexican resolve to push through negotiations. Now, why do you want to negotiate? Because you got a border nation. It's not going anywhere. The people, you want to try to rule them in a way where you don't have to have this constant problem already. They already got this problem with black folks. So they do want to try to come up with a decent negotiation to end that war. So let's skip down some more. Having returned from exile in Havana, well, I'll just go to this part. All right. So, basically they were, the British legislation officials, hold on a second, I'm sorry. So Trist managed to establish communications with the Mexican government by way of British legislation officials in Mexico City, who were anxious to see peace return before Mexico was entirely crushed. Having Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna having returned from exile in Havana as part of the Polk administration's attempt to undermine Mexico's ability to withstand a U.S. invasion, decided to lead Mexico's defenses, but was ultimately unable to create enough coordinated resistance to block Scott from occupying Mexico City. So basically, in a nutshell, you guys can read this. They lost the war, of course, but they lost it in a way where they were able to negotiate a boundary, basically, and that's what this treaty came up with. These boundaries were negotiated. It was agreed upon by both nations, and that's kind of how you got that. Now, I did get another alternative perspective of what people who deal with this believe in today. So let's look at that real quick. So with this one here is Axios. They're talking about how these are the people that said that some broken promises still linger from this treaty, and they call these ranchers Hispanic. So Hispanic was a term that they came up with in just a little while ago. I forgot the woman's name, Flores, but whatever. It wasn't Hispanic. That term didn't exist at that time. So amid the 175th anniversary of the signing of the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, which vastly expanded the United States territory, these folk, so it promised to respect previously private. These are some of the details that they had promises. The Treaty of Guadalupe ended the U.S.-Mexican War, promised that former Mexican citizens in newly acquired U.S. territories would immediately become American citizens with full rights. It promised to respect previously private land holdings, including land grants made under the Spanish and Mexican governments. Land grant agreements allowed for access to water, grazing, and community property. Yes, but almost immediately the U.S. ignored some of those promises and allowed white settlers to seize Hispanic-owned lands. Now, first off, these people were not called Hispanics. But the thing is, this is what, everybody has this situation going on with white folks. And the black nations who deserve reparations, that's one of our biggest gripes, okay? State of play. Hispanic ranchers and farmers tell Axios their battle today is largely focused on the federal government's proposal to impose more restrictions on land use for endangered species and environmental concerns, which they say violate the treaty. So, they feel that there's some differences there that, are broken promises, but they don't say the land was stolen. So, anyway, I just wanted to put that out there. And like I said, you look at the video that we posted. I posted, people out here burning the flag of a sovereign nation and then flying the flag of Mexico. Those people are not really welcome to do that in Mexico as well. So they really have no moral leg to stand on. And people who are defending them are just purely political puppets. So anyway, peace.
What would happen if I came to Mexico and I refused to leave and I assaulted police officers and I was waving an American flag and I was cursing, chanting, death to Mexico? My friend, what would happen to me?
Well, if you were in a big circle of people, you will get viciously attacked, and then you will get arrested, and then you will take into prison because and this is a lot of the situations with the people that are protesting right now in the United States of America. They do not know how they are affecting our nation in Mexico. In the Constitution of Mexico, in Article 54 bis of the Constitution says that you cannot tamper with our flag. And if you tamper with our flag, you will be taken to prison according to Article 288 of the Constitution of Mexico. So these you know, these radical mercenary activists who are using our flag and burning the American flag, you know, they're actually affecting us. So if that would be the case of you coming to Mexico and burning the Mexican flag and protesting, you will be immediately be taken into custody and taken to federal prison.
That's exactly what I thought you would say.